You're tired because you're sitting so much. Your back is hurting because you're sitting so much. So when you are dealing with, the limiting beliefs and you don't feel that confidence, start taking care of yourself physically. So movement, walking, swimming, Zumba, taking time for yourself on the physical side.
Hey, ladies, welcome to the Women Who Lead Summit. And I want you to buckle in, okay? Get ready, y'all, okay? Because our next session is about to challenge you, push you, and most importantly, empower you to think like the Iron Man in your business and life. I cannot wait for you to meet this amazing woman. I absolutely loved her when she was on my podcast. And our next speaker knows a thing or two about endurance, resilience, and stepping into your power. I want you to meet Jen Rulon. She is 15 times. Y'all heard me. Hold on. Y'all heard me. Okay. 15-time Ironman triathlete. I haven't even done half of one or a quarter of one. Okay. The woman is on 15. She's a TEDx speaker, a seasoned coach with over 20 years of experience in personal development and coaching. She's been featured in Triathlete Magazine, Runner's World, the Men's Journal, and she's even took the stage as an Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii. Okay, so we're talking about somebody who knows a thing or two about endurance, discipline, and resilience. But today, she isn't here to talk to you about the triathlons, right? She's here to teach us how to apply that Ironman mindset to entrepreneurship. Now, through her Empower Her Group coaching program, she helps women navigate life transitions like menopause, divorce, career shifts, and rediscovering their purpose. Now, her mission, to help women 35 and over embrace their strength, redefine their identity, and thrive. So, if you have ever doubted your strength and hesitated to take a bold action, because I know I have, I want you to sit back and really pay attention. This session is your wake-up call. So let's give a really powerful welcome to Jen Rulon. Hi, Jen.
Hello. Wow. What an amazing introduction. Thank you so much.
Really have been having a lot of fun with this event. Now, I will tell you, it's been a monster of an event to take on, but not like an Ironman. So I'm going to back up. So it's good to have you here. Really is. And thank you so much for doing this, because I know that, your wisdom, your skill sets, and all the stuff that you bring to the table is what I wanted at this event. And so these women are aspiring or growing their coaching businesses, and they're just trying to figure out this entrepreneurship world, right?
Yeah.
And so being that you are in that Ironman mindset and entrepreneurship, I really want us to dig into what it requires when it comes to discipline, endurance, mental toughness, right? Because women can apply that kind of mindset to growing and sustaining their business. So I wanted you to start there. Like, how can we as women start applying these same type of mindsets to grow and sustain our businesses?
Yeah. As a 15-time Ironman triathlete, and first of all, if you don't know what an Ironman is, it's a 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike, and a marathon run. So when I was 17 years old and I saw the Ironman World Championship in Hawaii on television, the ABC Wide World of Sports. And I said to my grandfather and my mom, after I saw that, it was in 1989, I said, I'm going to do that by the time I'm 30. I'm going to do Hawaii. And the ironic thing about it all is I hated running. Like, I was that girl that I was the last in the presidential fitness test that we did. So I realized that, like, I had this mindset or this discipline about myself because I think it's I'm brain farting on his name, but, like, you put in 10,000 hours, you're going to start seeing results, right? I'm sure I put in 10,000 hours of running at that point to get to that show, the Super Bowl of the triathlons, as the Ironman World Championship. So when people ask me about mindset and about the discipline and the endurance and how we can apply that mindset to growing the business and sustaining our business, you're doing a marathon. You're not doing a sprint. You're not doing a 5K or a 100-yard dash. You're not an Usain Bolt. If you are a businesswoman and you are just starting off, you're not going to get to where you want to be in a 5K or in a 10K. It's going to take time, dedication, hard work. Yeah. All that BS, right? But the biggest tip that I heard on a podcast when I first started my business is don't let perfection get in the way of good. And I recognize that as myself in my own business, but I also recognize that out on the race course. Like maybe my form's not the best on my run, but yeah, I could run pretty fast. Maybe my swim isn't the best, but I do pretty well in the pool. Same thing with working on your business. You know what? My social media is not as fluid as I want it to be, but that's okay. Show up. Maybe you show up 3 times a week, 4 times a week. Eventually you get to a point where you don't even think about it. So don't look at starting your business. When you're starting your business, don't look at it, oh, it's a super sprint. It's a super sprint triathlon, or it's a 5K, or it's a 100-yard dash. Y'all are in it for the long haul. And when I say Ironman, we're talking about ultra Ironmans, and that's like 3 times of everything. So hope that helps.
3 times of everything, girl.
No, that's crazy. I have not done that.
Whew, Lord have mercy. Okay. So, I love that, right? Because you're talking about doing a marathon and not doing that sprint. And this is the issue right now, Jen, I'm having with a lot of the women I speak to, is they really feel like they're supposed to show up and like the doors will be open and the people will be flooding in. And
Yeah.
it's like that's not how this works. And I get frustrated with all of
Mhm.
the quote unquote
Oh,
gurus out there, that
yes.
keep telling you, yeah, you join my program. In like 30 days, you'll have 1 million people.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, they have millions of dollars that they are pouring into their ads that they
Yes.
are getting people. That's why they're getting all the eyeballs. And they need to be a little bit more forthcoming or a little bit honest about that, because we don't all start with millions of dollars to put in
No.
our ad spend, right? And
No.
so when you go into these programs, and I literally just spoke to a woman, I was going to be into this big program, and I just want to say this to encourage all of you, because I was going to join this big program. It was like almost like 35, 40 grand to join, which is fine. Like if you have something that's worth it, you do it, right?
Right.
But something kept pushing me to not do it. And I like to listen to my intuition and to
For
who God
sure.
is and all of that in my life. And I just spoke to a woman who joined the program the same day I was going to join. And I said, "How are you?" She's like, "Well, I wanted to see if you had, room in your program for me." And I'm like, "I do, but didn't you just, And she's like, "Yeah, I left there burnt out and broke." Right? And I'm
Oh,
like, "Oh, that made me feel so bad." So here's why.
right.
When people are pushing you, like Jen said, to get something done in 30 days, you're going to be rich in 30 days. Everything's going to be done. What's going to happen is you're going to leave there deflated, disillusioned. If I
Mhm.
tried to run a marathon or anything, I'm not a runner. I walk, I power walk, but I'm not a runner. So if I
Right.
said to Jen, "Hey, Jen, I'm going to go ahead and join you in Ironman," I will be dead in 10 seconds.
I would be like,
Right?
no, that's gonna like if your ideal goal is to get to do an Ironman, I'm gonna ask you to give me 2 years.
Yeah.
Celebrate.
No,
Give me 2
thank
years. Give me
you.
5 years. Like
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
me yeah, but it's gonna take time. I
Yeah.
mean, I started online. I started coaching like good old Excel spreadsheets like in two
Mhm.
thousand and one. And then, because I was a triathlon coach for many years, I started my brand, jenrulon.com, in 2013. So I've been a digital nomad since then. But
Mhm.
honestly, 2024 was my highest pay that I've ever made in the 11 years of
Right.
jenrulon.com.
That is reality. And
Yep.
that's okay. And
It's
that's
okay.
okay. Right. And I think that's why I wanted to do this event because I want women to get the reality of what it is to get through this. Right.
Yeah.
And mindset is key. And I know that we all have these mental barriers, the self doubt, the limiting beliefs.
Oh,
I get all that. Right. So that's what I wanted to get into next with you because you've
yeah.
had to overcome a lot of those things and you're helping women overcome these things.
Yeah.
Right. And so I wanted to get into so many of us are hesitating to take the risk to invest in ourselves, right? And in our businesses.
Yes.
And it's all this fear and self-doubt and I don't know if I can do it. So, how do you coach women? How do you coach them to push through their limiting beliefs and start to build this unshakable confidence because we all need that. Yeah.
Hmm. Through the physical. And you're talking to a 15-time Ironman triathlete who is actually retired from the sport. So what do? I strength train 5 days a week. I surf until I get a head injury, but I'm fine. um, you know what? I see so much success with my women who are perimenopause, menopause, even business owners. I'm like, start with the physical. And when I say physical, I don't expect you to go do an Ironman or a marathon or even a 5K. But what I want you to do is I want you to start moving. I don't want you to be sitting at that desk, 10 hours a day and then all of a sudden like, oh, my back's bothering me or I'm so tired. You're tired because you're sitting so much. Your back is hurting because you're sitting so much. So when you are dealing with, the limiting beliefs and you don't feel that confidence, start taking care of yourself physically. So movement, walking, swimming, Zumba, taking time for yourself on the physical side. Another thing that I ask you to tap into is really working on your nutrition. It's as a digital nomad, as a person that has done online before online was cool. I mean, it was easy for me to go to the fridge. Like every time I got up, every 50 minutes I got up, walked around the house. What did I do? I went to the fridge. What's in the fridge? I mean, it's the same thing that it was there two times ago, right? It's the same type of thing. So you have to really hone in on the physical element. And then what are you consuming nutritionally? Are you consuming? Are you consuming fruits, vegetables, protein? For my ladies who are perimenopause and menopause, I jack up that protein intake. I will not have you fast. I will not have you do keto. Like our bodies need carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are, your rice, breads, fruits, vegetables, pasta, that type of thing. But what I see is what I love with the clients that I work with is I ask for weekly photos. And when they do photos in the very beginning, they have that scowl on their face and they're like, me, I don't like how I look. And then 12 weeks later, all of a sudden you see that confidence and that stand and that walk and that talk. And that's all through fitness and nutrition. And I'm a big advocate of water intake. Drinking 90 ounces of water every day is crucial because as humans, we are the most dehydrated animal on the planet.
So, you're a big advocate in making sure that in order for us to have this fear and limiting belief and mindset and stuff, you got to start with you and you got to start with yourself physically, is what you're saying, because
Bingo.
that's what's going to start releasing that from you. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Bingo. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking
Yeah.
about that. I was like, did I answer that? But yes, the physical, you have to take care of yourself physically because
Yeah.
in reality, if you're trying to build a business for your family and you are always tired, sick,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like you can't even bend down to play with your children,
Yeah.
that's not going to help you
Yeah.
because you're so exhausted. You're so
Yeah.
exhausted.
Yeah, and and for me, and I bet you many women here, I've spent so much time, Jen, on wanting to win the race of corporate, right?
Uh-huh.
Climb that corporate ladder, make sure you get there, and I did, I got there, got the 6 figures, blah, 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 but my health took a huge toll.
Sure.
And I started to get into autoimmune conditions, which I have to deal with now, and like all that kind of stuff, right? So weight is an issue. Addiction to sugar is an issue,
Yeah.
right? And I'm in menopause. I'm like going through all these different women experiences right now.
Yeah.
But I also noticed that because of that, it affects my foggy brain. Like like I'm going through all these little issues, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is a part of the journey. So I get what you were saying when you started there. I'm like, I get that. I get that
Mhm.
because when you start to take care of your nutrition and your mind, and like I go walking every day, making sure
Yeah.
that that's a thing I have to do,
Yep.
I feel so much better. And
So
then
much
when I
better.
come back to my desk, I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to go, right?
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
love that. I love that you did that, that you started there and not gave us like an answer that everybody gives us, but you're telling us, listen, this is what you really need to do because if you take care of the body takes care of the mind, and so on and so forth.
It's
So
a
good.
chain, it's a beautiful chain reaction. And
Yeah.
once you start and this is what I talk to my ladies all the time about. Once you start developing habits, those habits become non-negotiable and you don't even think about it. Like I don't
Right.
even think about like, the other one, this was a while back, my mom came to visit me. I live in Costa Rica and she's like, "Well, why don't you skip your workout?" I'm like, "Girl, like I'm like, Mom, you've known me for how many years? And you're
Right.
asking me to skip? No, 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 no. Because you don't want to be in the car with me for 6 hours when we're driving to R&L, Like, I
Yeah.
have to get my
Yeah.
workout. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, that's the thing, like, I wanna get there, Jen, right? Where I think, "No, no, 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 I don't wanna sit at my desk for 12 hours today, I need to go get
Yes.
my workout in," and I make that excuse all the time because 'cause I'm always working, and, what I did was and what I'm trying to change is I took my corporate mentality and I
Uh-huh.
brought it into my business, right? And so, I
Yeah,
have to be careful with that because I
for
find
sure.
myself 12 hours in, I'm like, "Oh, shoot, I didn't work out, I didn't do anything today, like, what am I doing?" And I don't
Yeah.
feel good, and when you don't feel good, you
Yeah.
don't do good. Oh,
Yep.
man, you're so good. I love that. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
I love all of that. So, I wanted to then talk to you then about how do we do it then, right? So, the resilience and the endurance that it takes to succeed because, both in Ironman, right, and in
Mhm.
business, you're gonna have those moments where you wanna freaking quit, right? And I know that I felt that for
Yes.
sure, right? So, and I've spoken to so many women, especially this past year, that have been feeling so stuck, so burnt out, and so ready to give up. They're
Mhm.
just done, right?
Mhm.
But they're not just done with business. Sometimes they're done with their careers too. They're just done. And so
Mhm.
I'd love you to take us through that, right? Like what are those key things we could be doing so that we don't quit? Because I'm sure that
Mhm.
there's been times when you were doing Ironman where you're like, I don't know if I can make this swim. I don't know if I can make this bike. I don't know if I could do this run.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
get us through that.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick story because I think it shows a lot of who I am as an athlete and as an entrepreneur or business owner. So I was at it was Ironman Florida. I believe it was 2014. They ended up canceling the swim because the rip tides were so bad you couldn't even swim. And so we did that. We started with the bike and then we went into the run. And I did the first loop on the run, which is 13.1. And at that point, I was done. I was like so done. I'm like, it's not even a full Ironman. I've already done a whole bunch of them. Like, this is just stupid. I see my mom. I see my ex's mother-in-law and they were standing there. They're like, go, Jen. And I was like, y'all want to go get a drink? Cause I'm sort of done with this. And my mom was like, what do you mean? I'm like, I want to quit. And she goes, well, what happens if you go to mile 14? I'm like, well, then I have to go to mile 15. And then she's like, and then you have to go to mile 16. And then I was like, all right, I'll talk to you later. I'll see you in a couple hours. And that's what it was. Like I did not quit. I never had a DNF in my race because I knew that would mentally mess with me going into my next race. Same type of concept when it comes to business. Honestly, like it was literally like I think it was almost like 2 weeks ago, I had that, like, I am so done. I'm so frustrated. And so what did I do? I stepped away from social media. I stepped away from my computer. I stepped away from everything for 2 days, for 48 hours. And I was like, you know what? You're going to spend time with your boyfriend, his son. You're going to go to Tamarindo. You're going to get away. And honestly, it was probably one of the best choices I've ever made because I had a conversation with God, universe, whatever your higher power, whatever your beliefs are. And I do a lot of meditation. I do a lot of journaling. So when you are feeling stuck, burned out, ready to give up, honor that. Number one, honor that, recognize that. And then either one, take a break, step away from the computer, go for a walk. There's your physical, right? And if you have to step away for a couple days, do that. Go spend time with your family. Don't sit there and be like, oh, I have to post this, or I have to do this, or I have to do that. It's going to be there. It's still going to be there. That post, you don't post it on a Monday. Oh, well, you can post it on a Tuesday. Nobody's going to recognize that other than you. If you don't take care of yourself by the burnout or ready to, the burnout is going to be real and you are going to push away the computer. You're going to push away your business and you're just going to be done. So honor that. So first and foremost, honor that you're frustrated, you're stuck, you're burnt out, ready to give up. Two, have a conversation with a friend, a mentor, your coach, higher power, and just say, what do I do? Prime example, I had a couple sales calls a couple days ago and I didn't convert. And I walked out and I just was like, raw, like I was just frustrated. I walked out to the beach. I put my earbuds in. People are trying to talk to me. I'm like, nope, this is my time. I need to have a conversation with the big man. And so I was like, what am I doing? What's going on? And I just got super emotional and I just was like, I'm giving it to you. I kid you not, the next day, I followed up with the ladies. I offered them a little bit lower pricing with more time and more information. Not more information, but a little bit lower pricing. They converted. And it was me taking the time for myself on the beach with no noise other than the ocean and God and my higher power that I was able to get through it. So you're going to want to quit, honor it, take a break, find somebody to talk to.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. That is actually what I do as well. I did that this morning actually because I woke up with a lot of pressure on my mind. And
Aw.
I'm like, what is going on to like
Hmm.
why am I waking up like this? So I always wake up with gratitude. Thank you. I always wake up with gratitude. So I was like, God, thank
Mhm.
you. Actually, thank you so much for this day. And thank you that I'm alive.
Yep.
And thank you for the air in my lungs. And so this morning, instead of reaching for the phone like I normally do, or running
Yes.
to get to my computer because I gotta get ready, I didn't. I said, "You know what? I had already Jen's stuff set up from last night, so I'm okay."
Yep.
And I just spent time the last maybe hour and a half with God and read the word and just soaked in that word and put some meditation music. It was the best thing I ever did. So
Mhm.
you're right. You have to be intentional. Like you have to recognize that if you're waking up with stuff on your mind, sleeping with stuff on your mind, doing things with stuff on your mind, you're
Yeah.
probably on the road to burnout. And because
Yes.
this is such a big event, I have been on it all day. And I'm like, wait, Neen, you also have to take a second here, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, and by the way, you look more Puerto Rican than me right now with that tan, girl. Let me tell you, I'm a little jealous. I'm a
Uh,
little jealous right now, just saying.
well, I did go surfing on Monday, and that's where I got my little
I
injury. If you go
love
on
it.
my social
Oh,
social media,
oh,
it's
I'm sorry.
but honestly, Nina, it was like if you remember Lion King and Rafiki talking to Simba and he puts a clunk on his head, like, wake up. I
Yeah.
honestly felt that surfboard hitting my head was all about the ego. Like I went back out
Mm,
after my coach said, this is your last wave. What do? I go back out. I come in, I fall because the waves like were crashing with each other. The board comes up, clunks me on the head. It was like, why didn't you listen to your coach?
mm, mm. Okay, girl. Turn it into a lesson. I
I
love it.
did. I
I
did.
love it.
It was beautiful. Yeah.
I love that you said, don't quit or it will go into your next race. That was good.
Oh,
Yeah, you said you didn't quit because you knew
that's
that that would be on your
yeah.
mind for
Oh,
the
yeah.
next race, right? So that's why I
Yeah.
said don't quit or it will go into your next race. And that is really true. And this is one thing I want all of you women who are listening right now is to have grace on yourself and forgive yourself because
Mhm.
you're going to make mistakes and I don't want you to go into the next thing with that mistake on your mind and then that's going to sabotage you. So I
Mhm.
love that. I love that you said, you know what, I got to go to miles 15. Then I got to do six. I'm just going to have to go. Right.
Yeah.
Because if I
Yeah.
don't, I'm going to regret it. And the next day, next race, I'm going to have it on my mind. I quit.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have like
So good.
I'm working with a woman now and she's like, I've had too many DNFs and it's getting in my head.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, we got to change that confidence. We got to snap out of that. We got to figure that out. Like
Yeah.
why we got to go deeper why that's happening. And that's what
Mhm.
we're starting to work on. So yeah.
That's powerful because a lot of us don't stop and pause to recognize that that's happening. And
Yeah.
so we just keep going down this circle and not realizing why that's happening. And the truth is we keep, and this is a problem for all humans, right? We just keep um uh judging the right now with something that's happened in the past. And that's a big mistake, right?
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
sometimes we're also judging the right now with what we want in the future and we're not there yet. Why don't you just
Ye
do right now. Let's just do the
yes.
right now, right? And
Yes.
we all do that. And so it's something our brain just does naturally. We have to pull ourselves back. I also love that you said, you know what? Honor the fact that you maybe are burnt out, that you maybe are overwhelmed, and then step away for a few days. And as soon as you said that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that at the end of this month when I'm done with this whole event
Good.
because I could feel myself getting like a lot of pressure and I'm going
Yeah.
to do that. I'm going to step away and I'm going to let that happen because you're right. And I think spending that time in nature is strong, isn't it, Jen? Like going
Oh,
out to the water and the if you're in mountains or whatever, just go
right.
outside, right?
Go
Yeah.
outside. Take your and I know some people are in the winter and the snow, but you might wanna do this too, like, take your shoes off.
Yeah.
W Take and go bare feet and walk in the grass. If you don't have
Mhm.
grass and there is snow, have fun. Play in the
Mhm.
snow. Do a snow angel. Like, I saw one of my girlfriends, like, they got tons of snow in Louisiana a couple weeks ago, and, like, it's crazy because 'cause I'm like, "Go outside, play, be a kid
Yeah.
again." So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So good. And we have to get there because, even in the Bible it says, come to me like the little children, right? And I think it's because children are, they're creative, they're ambitious, they go after things, right? And then somewhere
Yep,
along the line, life hits us and we start to make these rules that stop us
yep,
from doing the things we want to do in our life, right?
yep.
And so I wanted to talk to you about that. I wanted to talk to you about the women who are maybe going through some life transitions,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
So I know that you help a lot of women get through divorce and menopause and career shifts and all that stuff,
Yep,
right? So
yep.
give us give us like the one strategy or the one
Mm.
mindset shift or something that allows women to embrace that change that they may be going through right now and then turn that into an opportunity.
Ooh, good question. I think my first response is to learn how to set up boundaries. And you're going to disappoint a lot of people when you set those boundaries because those people don't have boundaries. And if you're going through a divorce, if you're going to and the reason why I say perimenopause, menopause, divorce, been there, done it, right? And that was the one thing that I learned going through my divorce was that I had to keep what was going on between myself and my ex, not with my family, not with my friends. It was me taking care of me and setting my boundaries and protecting my boundaries and my head. Now, like if you're going through perimenopause, menopause, you may need a coach to help you, or you may need to talk to your doctor and go get some blood tests. I totally get that. But also, so this is what I've said to I did a commencement speech at University of Wisconsin Whitewater, and I remember telling people what I wanted to do growing up, and I had so many people talk about, oh, well, you can't do that. You live in Wisconsin. Oh, well, that's not good. You're going to have to live by the ocean, or you're going to have to do this. And like, so if all of a sudden you're going through a divorce or you're changing careers and let's say you've been that corporate person and you're going the, into like your entrepreneurship, like you want to quit your corporate job and you want to go to start your own business, keep quiet. Set those boundaries, because there's going to be a whole bunch of people that are going to project their fears onto you. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them and how they respond to their cycle and to their world. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and it actually made me think of, when I was in medical for like 15 years, right? And
Okay.
so, I knew that in my heart as a child, I wanted to be a chef since I was a little girl. And so I decided, after praying a lot and feeling like God was leading me towards going back to school to be a chef, I told people, and the same thing that you just talked about happened, right? And so I'll never forget. I was at the printer at my job, and my one of the women that I work with goes, "This is ridiculous. I can't even believe you're doing that. Do you know you don't make any money as a chef? You're not going to make any money. Like, that's ridiculous." And I'm like, "Wow." I said, "Now I know I have to do it." That's what I
Yeah.
said to her. And she goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Because when some naysayers come out, I call you guys dream killers." I said to her,
Yeah.
"I call you guys dream killers. And when somebody tries to kill my dream, I'm going to go for it." And that's exactly what I did. And I went back to school, and God was amazing. He paid for the whole school all the way to my bachelor's
Amazing.
degree and the whole thing. And what happened? I ended up becoming a six-figure no payment coach, sorry, chef, and I ended up getting a whole bunch of awards and stuff like that. Why?
Amazing.
Because when you step into your dream, Jen, and you have the boundaries and you won't allow people to snatch away from you what
Mhm.
God has set in place for you, you are
Mhm.
going to be successful, whatever that successful means, right? Because
Yeah.
successful doesn't always mean making millions of dollars. Successful means living the life that you want to live, being in the place that
Mhm.
you want to live, being in the relationship you want to be in, like those kind of things, right? And so I
Yeah.
love that you said that. The first place you started was set your freaking
Yeah.
boundaries,
And I
right?
and I think for a lot of people, my family included, like when I went
Mhm.
through a divorce, they wanted to know everything. I'm like, "No, you don't need to know." Then when I was like, "Hey, I'm moving to Costa Rica," they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "I don't have kids. If I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it. Where am
Right.
I going to go? Like, I don't want to live in San Antonio, Texas anymore. And if I want, I need a Pacific Ocean. So it's either Hawaii, California, or Costa Rica."
Mhm, mhm.
And, I'm closer to my family from in Costa Rica than if I lived in California or Hawaii, you know?
Right, right.
And, but people didn't understand why. They thought I was running away from a failed marriage. They thought I was running away from blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I'm running back to the girl I once knew.
Yeah, right. So the one you wanna be, right? You
Yep.
wanted to live in Costa, and I hear Costa Rica is absolutely
Oh,
stunning, so you must
amazing.
love it there. Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, see, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. That to me, that's success, that's abundance.
Yeah,
Just
it
living
is.
in the place you want to live in. Like, for God's
Mhm.
sakes, you're surfing and you look more Hispanic than me, like, that's crazy, right? So that's what I mean, like, that's amazing. Are you Latina, by the way?
No, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
dating a Tico. Does that
Yeah,
help? A
yeah,
Costa
yeah, it's
Rican?
by yeah, you're by injection, so it's fine.
Right. I love it. I
We're
love it.
we're all we're all women here. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So I wanted you to help us then.
of
Let's
course.
start let's start creating habits then. Okay?
Yes.
Because I know that you integrate a lot of the strength that you do with your training, with your surfing now, right? You love that surfing, the journaling, the meditation. Like you have these beautiful habits that you've created. It's the same as when you said a couple minutes ago how you put your headphones in and you just wanted to spend time with God, nobody to bother you, right? Like that kind of stuff is important. And we need
Mhm.
to start developing those kind of habits. So what are some daily habits? Maybe we can do up to
Mhm.
3 if you can give us that we as women entrepreneurs can start to implement to build resilience. That way we can really start performing at our best and not like at mediocre or beneath what we
Sure.
know what we can do, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. I mean, I'm going to say it. First and foremost, start developing a workout routine, whether that's walking, Zumba, um, 30 minutes a day, some type of movement that's going to help you. Sitting is the new smoking. And if you're not developing those habits and you're not taking care of yourself, when people tell me they don't have enough time, I call BS because we all have the same amount of time. I've seen some of the top entrepreneur men and women taking care of themselves physically. So, first and foremost, start developing that habit. If you have any questions or unsure, like I get this a lot from a lot of my women. They walk into a gym and they're like, oh my God, information overload. And they walk out and they're like, I'm good. I'm just going to jump on the treadmill. If you are perimenopausal, menopausal, and you're not doing strength training, come to me. I'm happy to help you out. I can design programs specifically for you. And even if you don't have a gym, you have a home gym, or if you have body weights, I can make it happen. So, first and foremost, take care of the physical. Second, I would say is really start looking at your thoughts. So, what am I saying? I'm probably dating myself on the movie Animal House, but, and it's a terrible scenario that they're in, but there's a little angel on one side, there's a little devil on the other side. The angel is over here going, oh my God, like a great example is in my Ironman race, right? So, the little angel over here is saying, oh my God, Jen, you're doing amazing. You're running 8-minute miles. Like, that's so fantastic. You're going to rock the race. But then I have the little devil over here going, psh, you're not going to be able to hold that 8-minute mile for the rest of the marathon. Like, you're insane. Why would you even start that fast? You can't run that fast. Like, it's that constant chatter and noise in your own head, in your own head. So how do you adjust that? How do you take that? What do I do? There's times where I've been on the race and I hear my little angel going. Sometimes I'll hear my little devil and I'll be like, oh, yeah. I mean, I will literally look at him or her and say, oh, yeah, girl. I'm like, watch me. Let me make it happen. Now, if I'm in mile 20 and she's still chattering, and I'm like, will you shut up? And I will literally flick her off. I will flick her off and be like, I'm done with you. You've just motivated me to go crush the next 6 miles. So the stories in our head need to be, not the constant angel cheerleader, but the just allowing the stories to let go, like just be done with the stories, like just let that happen. Because then number three is all about learning about your flow and the flow state. The flow state is all about you just let things happen naturally. You don't overthink, you don't overdo, you just let it go. If you're putting in 12, 13 hours and you're not tired by the end of the day, I mean, you might be tired, that means you've had a beautiful flow and you have the energy. But if you're putting in 12 hours and you are just spent, exhausted, shut down, that's where burnout comes in. So you're overthinking, you're overdoing. If you allow the the chatter and sort of like let the chatter go and allow yourself to go in the flow state, it's going to be a lot easier. So, developing habits, the physical, get out there, do something every single day for at least 30 minutes. Number two, eliminate the chatter. Sometimes the angel chatter and the devil chatters are good, but eliminate the devil chatters quicker than the angel chatter. And then number three, understand what flow state is to you. And how do you get in flow state? That all depends on who you are, whether that's journaling, meditating, having a conversation, God, higher power, universe, whatever your beliefs are, or, or walking or doing something, but just figure out what flow state is to you.
Yeah, and I mean, I love all of those. So I wrote everything down, right? Because first of all, you got me with the sitting is the new smoking. I was like, oh shit. Right? Because I used to smoke when I was like 18 or something. I was like 30, 40 years ago, whatever it was.
Sure.
But you're right. I mean, you're right because you don't feel good when you've been sitting all day. And so that's why I set my timer up because I get into flow, like I'm starting to do things and then, but I have to be careful that I don't keep going because I
Mhm.
have a natural tendency to be a workaholic. And so I set my Alexa up every hour and then I get up and I go move,
Good.
stretch. I do all of that to get myself out of it. So I love what you said about the devil angel thing because and the fact that you actually see it and flick it. I do that too. Like if something comes into my mind that I know is not good for me, I usually feel like I grab it and I throw it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
sometimes you have to naturally do something in order to like get it out of your system,
Correct.
right? So I agree with that. And I I wanted you to there was something I had to say to you, but I didn't write it down, so I forgot. But I wanted you to give us a case study of somebody. Oh, here's what it is. As you were talking about that, like creating new habits and doing all of these things, I also thought you should also get a coach. Right. So if Jen is like your type of woman who really can inspire you and put you there, you really should reach out to her. Here's why I say that because a lot of times we will start something and want to create a habit, but don't have the discipline to.
Yes.
And then so needing someone on your side, some coach or somebody who's really determined can really help you create the habits. Because
Mhm.
otherwise we excuse ourselves. Like you said, I have no time. Oh my God, I've said that so many times in my life. And then now when I look at my calendar, because I do a lot of time boxing, I
Uh-huh.
actually see now the pockets of time I actually do have, the
Yeah.
30 minutes, the 15 minutes, the hour. And I'm like, oh, I actually have more time than I think I do because I keep working through it, but I could actually
Mhm.
pause now. And like right after we're done talking here, I'm going to go do a 30-minute workout and then come back to my next call. Right.
Perfect.
But that's not a habit. I'm trying to create the
Yeah.
habit. Right.
Yep.
So having a coach, I think, is also important to help you navigate that part. Do you agree with that?
100%. I mean, I have a coach. I've had,
Yeah.
and I was a triathlon coach for many years. When I transitioned to women is where I made most of I did the highest in my business.
Yeah.
But for all the years as a triathlon coach, I had a triathlon coach because I would give workouts to my athletes. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. And then, turn around and then all of a sudden my coach gives me a harder one. I'm like, dang it,
Right.
like, but he kept me accountable. And,
Yeah.
we had an amazing relationship for many years. Like he knew my goal was to get to Kona. And so, I've had many coaches and now I currently have a business coach who is a business coach and he helps me with my fitness and my macros, but I do the
That's
same
so
thing with
good.
ladies. I do
Yeah.
the same thing
Yeah.
with my ladies. Like if you're looking to really build and grow your business, I will give you the tools and the task to show you, break it down. And I'm not that person's like, oh, here, fill out this PDF and this is going to be, no, we're doing action things.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to get you in the gym. I'm also going to have you start counting your macros. Like, if you want to lose weight and you want to feel better as a business owner, then that's what you're going to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So a
love
coach needs a
that.
coach.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I say that all the time.
Yeah.
But I wanted you to let's transition into that because before we wrap
Okay.
up, I really would love for you to talk about that because you've worked with so many women through the Empower Her, right? And
Correct.
I want you to like share with all of these women and with me like a really powerful story, a case study of a woman that completely transformed her mindset, her business, her life using your strategies. I'd love to hear about that.
Mm. I think the very first person that jumped on board with me over the last, when I transitioned from triathlon coaching to working with women, is my client, Michelle. Michelle and I knew each other in the triathlon space. And she was always the girl that was like swim, bike, and run type of thing. And she absolutely despised strength training, and she knew that she needed to make a shift because she was going through perimenopause. And many years ago, about 5 years ago, I heard a woman called named Stacy Sims. And if you're interested, she's got a book out there about the endurance space. But she said, if you are perimenopause or menopausal, and you're still doing endurance, she's like, stop, start lifting heavy, beep, start lifting heavy weights. And Michelle heard that. We were both at the same clinic, and she heard that. And then all of a sudden she saw me transitioning as a, triathlon coach to helping women start building their bodies differently in the gym. And so she hired me. And then during this time, she was working for prior to working with me, she was working for really high endurance companies. I don't want to say the names. And she was working with them for a while, and then as a marketing. And she finally got to a point where she's like, I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to be my own marketing person. And so the great thing is that when we started, she was working on her strength training. She was developing her strength training. She was working on her nutrition, and she was working on her business. And so during our calls, maybe the first 10-15 minutes was about fitness and nutrition, but then the rest of it was talking about her mindset, about her business, about her frustrations in her business, about like, what do I charge? Am I overcharging? And that's I just literally had a conversation with her probably like 3 days ago about that. I'm like, am I overcharging? She's like, I ask that all the time, So like we still have that beautiful conversation. But the great thing is she developed the tools and her habits of shifting from the swim, bike, triathlete and running girl to going in and strength training 5 days a week. She's still riding her bike. She doesn't run. She swims on occasion, but her body has shifted drastically. And so like she did 3 months with me, took a couple months break because she ended up having a torn ACL. So she had to get that fixed. And she's like, can I come back to you? I'm like, hell yeah, you can. She came back to me, and she did pictures side to side. And I have a beautiful testimony with Michelle, and her husband's like, oh my God, you look amazing. And she's like, yeah, but my weight's the same. And he's like, what? How? And she shifted from that endurance athlete to being specific in the gym. And then also, not only was she taking care of herself physically with the nutrition, with her water, she was taking care of herself mentally, because we were going back and forth on like the ideas and the mindset. And I have another woman that just started with me, and we're working on her business as well and just developing a plan and stuff like that. So I I feel Michelle is like that amazing person that really shared, that had that aha moment of, I got to take care of myself physically. I got to hire a coach. I got to invest in myself. And then I was able to give her the tools that she could do stuff on her own.
That's so cool, right? When you can, and that's, I think, becomes such a beautiful and addicting part of being a coach. Like when you
Yeah.
start to see people's lives transform, you're like, dang, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You're just like so proud of them,
So
and
proud.
yeah, so proud. And then you also just realize that you have what it takes to be a coach. And I know
Yeah.
that these women who are here have what it takes to be a coach. This has been such an amazing conversation, Jen.
Thanks,
And
Neena.
it's really been like a game changer. You gave me a lot of things to think about. And I know, ladies, I know entrepreneurship, can feel sometimes like a pressure, but like Jen said, this is a marathon. It's an endurance race. It's not a sprint. right? So, start to develop this Iron Man mindset. And I
Yeah.
think this will set us apart. So, it's resilience, it's discipline, it's mental toughness.
Yes.
It's not just for athletes, it's also for you as a leader, as somebody who's developing a business or a team, right? So, Jen, now I just want you to let them know. What you have for them, where they can find you, all of that great stuff, because I'm sure that they're like, "Oh, Jen, okay, fine. We'll get our ass in the gym. We'll do something with our
Right.
lives."
Right.
So let
Yeah.
us know how to do that.
Yeah, you can go. I mean, you could go to my website, jenrulon.com. There's a whole bunch of information. I have a whole bunch of blogs talking about fitness. I have a whole bunch of PDFs you could download. I believe I'm doing the Empower Her, the Ironman mindset for entrepreneurs. There is a free PDF with that. If you want to see what I do on social media, you could go to Coach Jen Rulon, JenRulon. You could go to TikTok. I'm developing a lot of fun on TikTok over the last year. I've transitioned from a lot of men to women. Thank God. I mean, I'm in a bikini in Costa Rica. I get it, but I really wanted to make that shift working with women. And so I go on lives a lot. I talk about resilience. I talk about developing habits. I talk a lot about, sometimes I'll go on TikTok live and we'll talk about music and we'll start, having stuff. I've actually had a Gen X, or no, the Gen X generation was actually giving the millennials advice on dating and marriage and not, and what to do and what not to do. It was very entertaining. So there's a lot of stuff out there. But my biggest three platforms is my website, jenrulon.com, is, oh, thank you, Apple. The TikTok, Coach Jen Rulon, and then Instagram, Coach Jen Rulon as well.
Awesome sauce. Jen, this was so good. Thank you so much for being
Thank you,
here.
Neena.
So good. So good. I
Thank
love
you.
good conversations. Ladies, make sure that you do this. I'm going to make sure to link all of our information. You're also going to have the landing page that my team is working on right now to make sure that you have all of the free PDFs and everything that the speakers are giving you, because I mean, the value of what you're getting in the Women Who Lead Summit has been absolutely life changing. So, Jen, thank you so much for being here and hanging out
Thank
with us.
you,
I
Neena.
appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, guys. All
Dear
right.
Rita.
All right. I know you living that life, girl. You living that life.
I am.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks.
And until next time.